we are going to move on to the character data type. And what I want us to do is to create a variable. Being a forestry graduate, I'm going to create a list of trees. Call this oak, beech. We have local trees such as Iroko in Nigeria and West African country. You have eucalyptus, which is common over the world. Then we also have the acacia. That's actually another common tree. Then we have the pine tree, which is common in temperate regions. Okay, now we have this. We can call these trees. Now I'll create another one. I'll choose a favorite out of this. Call this my favorite tree, and I'll assign that to Iroko. First thing I'll expose us to is simple operations. We've seen to lower and to upper here. You can as well use it for characters like that, and to upper my fave that. So you can also write your favorite tree and convert them to lower cases and convert them to uppercase. I might also be interested in knowing the number of alphabets I have in my favorite tree. These are regarded to as character. So there's a function, the nchar. You can check the documentation. I say count the number of characters or bytes or widths. So we just simply pass the object. We move to this nchar and we pass our favorite tree there. And now we have 5, and that is true. Okay, now I'm going to change this and say I want the scientific name of my favorite tree. So the fave scientific name, and this is Milicia excelsa. And now I'll do something just to expose something about nchar to us. So if we check nchar and we check favorite tree scientific name, you see that it's 15. And if we check the length of the fave scientific name, you see that it's 1. So this one, it means is one object, and nchar, it counts the individual characters there. But if you are to count it now, let's see if it sums up to 15, if it's lesser or if it's small. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We have 14, and yeah, this shows 15. So what's happening? White spaces here, that's the space that we have between Milicia and excelsa, is also a character. If you check Microsoft Word, whenever you type using Microsoft Word, you have the number of words, you have the number of characters. In Microsoft Word, spaces are also regarded to as characters. I'm going to make a slight change to my favorite tree, the scientific name. I'm going to leave 2 spaces. And now I will introduce you to the function trimws, which means trim white spaces. And this is actually very useful, especially in survey where you get people, where people feel, for example, their marital status. I will get data like this. We get married, we get married, we get married, and we also get married like this. Now it might seem like it's all the same, but they are actually quite different. We can check that using the nchar, of course, and we'll see the number of elements that each have. We have 7, we have 8, we have 9, and we have 8 again. And if we notice them right here for the second element, you see there's a white space at the right side, and for the third one there's a white space on the left and the right side, and for the fourth there's a white space on the left side, and that's where trimws is very useful. So what I'll do here is I'll assign this guy to marital status. We use trimws, which stands for trim white spaces, and if we check the arguments there, we see x, that implies the object. So we say x, the object, marital, oh, it's not martial status, it's marital status. That's a lot of anime in place there. Not martial status, marital status. Okay, trimws. And now we see that it's exactly the same. Of course, we can nest this into the function nchar to count the number of characters to see if it's true. And we see that it's 7 all true. So this is good. But that's not all. If you want to, for example, remove all the right spaces, what we do is we use trimws, we pass in our variable marital status, and now we use the which function and we state which side. I want to remove all the right side, all the right white spaces. So now we have this. We see that we have the left side still remaining here also. See it's still visible. We can also change this to left, and we see the right side still available here. So what trimws does by default is it removes the white spaces from both sides. Now another function which is very nice is string split. And what string split does is it splits your variable into two. For example, check my favorite scientific name. Then we pass the split, which means how do we want to split it? The split here is I will use space, and look at what we have. We have militia and we have excelsa, and we have an empty set here, and that's because we left the space here. So if I'm to delete this white space, the two white spaces that we have here, and leave militia excelsa like this, and if we split it, see we have militia and excelsa. So what string split does is it splits your character according to a particular delimiter. But now the delimiter here is space. But of course, you can use other type of delimiter. You can also use A, for example. I can use A. I want to split by A. And here we see we have milli and excels. But oftentimes, you won't want to split by an alphabet. Instead, you want to split by a delimiter. I can give another example. Let's see. Let's use my car. And this is common. We have, for example, we have Ford Raptor F-150 or Mercedes Benz. Then we have GLK 30. I love the G-Wagon. Of course, it's Mercedes. Then BMW i7. That's my favorite car. Okay, now I'll say my fifth car because I'll get them soon. So now we are going to split my fifth car using string splits. My fifth cars, and what I want to split them by is the dash. And what this exposes is it shows us I want to split them with the hyphen here or dash. So what this does is it leave the model type out, and we have the model and the normal car, we have it left. So once we do this, we have Ford Raptor, this type of Ford Raptor F-150. This type of Mercedes, we have GLK 30. There are different types. So this is one really useful function that we can include in our hash now. There's another function which we can use, but I promise this is the last function for now. Yeah, and that's the substring function. Substring. What substring does is it divides your character data type according to a position which you set. For example, let's look at this. We can take my fifth car as an example. Yes, and we want to start at 1, and let's say we stop at position 4. So we start at 1, we stop at position 4. Now we'll see what this does. It's going to split our variable. So we have Ford, Mac, BMW. It extracts the first 4 and leave out the rest. Oh yeah, that's the right word. Extract, not split. We use substring to extract a particular part from our variable. Let's look at this again. Substring. Okay, now take trees. We want to remember the trees variable we created up there, and now I want to extract from position 1 to position 7. And now we have oak, beech, iroko, eucalypt, acacia, and pine. Eucalypt, of course. This is from eucalyptus. But these are just some of the functions that we use for character data type. I hope this was clear. And if you have any question, of course, you can use the documentation, and also you can search Google to get quick response, or you can book a time with the instructor so you get more clarification on this.